So guys, hi. So before we get started with today's video, I actually want to give you guys sound tests beforehand because this video is kind of long for the install. I didn't know what I was doing, so I would probably put in more than what a lot of you guys who know what you're doing in this video. So I'm going to show you my setup. I'm going to let you listen to my setup, give you my review of the setup, then we'll get into the install after. So the JL speakers sound system blows. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, especially when you take off the top or you have a best top, because you lose a lot of your sounds while you're cruising around, and it's very irritating not having better sound quality. So sound systems can get very expensive. If I would have a recommendation for anyone, if you don't have a lot of money to get the whole sound system, start with a compact subwoofer. Check this out. So this is the Alpine PWE S8. It is a compact 8-inch subwoofer. These are essentially made for vehicles and Jeeps that don't have a lot of room. It's water resistant. It's water dust resistant. Of course, it's not waterproof. What I ended up doing was mounting it onto my security box. Kind of help resonate it. It hides it. It conceals it. It gives me the booms that I want. And of course, it's not going to be easy for anyone to steal because it's bolted into the Tuffy and you can't just get into the Tuffy. So now I'm going to give you just the sound test of just the subwoofer. You guys hear it? This is just the subwoofer. The speakers aren't hooked up right now. I'll get into the speakers here in a little bit and let you listen to everything. I mean, the Jeep does vibrate. It's not crazy. I'm not someone into the obnoxiously loud. Hopefully YouTube doesn't know what song that I'm playing. Otherwise they're going to copyright strike me. That stand away from, so I'm not too sure if you can hear it, but this is about 12 feet away. See if we can get it louder. Gotta say, it's a huge improvement over what the stock speakers could produce. And if all you're going to upgrade, I would definitely say at least get doing that will improve the sound quality dramatically. It's relatively easy to do. I totally recommend it. Again, this isn't a subwoofer to be shaking windshields. This isn't a subwoofer to be rocking every vehicle around a red light, which of course I don't want. I'm not into the obnoxiously loud. I'm just into wanting to be able to hear my music when I have my best top down, all my windows down, and I'm going 65 to 75 down the freeway, traveling to wherever it is I'm traveling, and be able to listen to music without any decrease in sound quality. And this kit will 100% do it. Everything cost me about $700 to $800. Great news, it worked exactly how I thought it was going to. Now I need to record the music, so you can hear the music. But I need my phone to get some copyright-free music. Sorry, YouTube is lame that way. They don't let you use music for videos unless you get explicit permission from the artist, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get someone like DMX to say, do it, bro. So I'm going to go borrow the wife's phone. I'm going to hook my phone up with some copyright-free music to the sound system, and we're going to go test this out. Time to piss off the neighbors. Walking across the street. There's the Jeep. Dang. I'm sure you hear that perfectly. I'm sure everyone in the neighborhood hears that. So again, getting into the Alpine PWE. This is the compact subwoofer. It's an 8-inch. If you're looking to add a little bit something to your Jeep or to your vehicle, I highly recommend this. I really love the way it sounds. I'm not too sure if it's the actual sub or the fact that I bolted it up to a big metal box. What I know is that I love the way it sounds. It was relatively easy to install, and it's all a single housed unit. I mean, even if you don't go with the Alpine, which I'm very happy with this purchase, a compact sub, I know KICKER makes one, I know JL Audio makes one, I don't care who makes it. This thing is awesome. The speakers are extremely subpar for the JL. I don't know about the Alpine system, if they're the same speakers or not, but I got the bass because my logic has always been I'm never going to upgrade a sound system. What works in the car works in the car. And I got a Jeep. I started taking the top off, running with the top down, and the sound gets very distorted, and I don't like it. So this is why I chose to do it. Well, the speakers that I used, though the kickers weren't a direct plug-in, I would recommend getting a direct plug-in if you can, or a bracket to actually fit it, so you don't have to do what I did and modify it in. But the KICKER with the Performance Mopar tweeters, they freaking rock. You guys heard them all the way across the street, and I guarantee my neighbors are probably getting all pissed off. There he goes again. But if you're going to do speakers would probably be the last thing that I do, just because of that problem that I encountered when I wired them all up and the speakers wouldn't kick on because they weren't the stock speakers. Again, I really wish I could explain that part better, but that's just what I'm told. I don't know enough about it, but the resistance was different with the new speakers, which is why it didn't kick on, which is, I don't know. But speakers last, if you're going to be piecing this together. So this nifty little Alpine amp produces 75 watts of power for a 4-channel. It is weather resistant, which is awesome. It does have, on this side, you have a little panel. You see the screws. If you unscrew that, you can actually get to all of your little adjustments for tuning your amp and your sub together. But so also came with the wiring harness. This one was a little bit more, I don't know the word to use, scary to do, because you got to cut a bunch of wires from behind the head unit. I'm going to include, it's not really that hard. It's the speaker wires, all the speaker wires, the 4 from here, the 4 from here, all run to the back of the head unit. So all what you're doing is you're just looping this in. So you're going to cut the wire. You have an in and out side, so make sure you do it the correct way so you're not running it backwards. And you're just plugging 8 in. I'm doing 4, but pretend this is 8. You're going 8 from here to the back where they're coming from the speakers. And so from the speaker, the electricity or the signal is coming through the wires, hitting the amp. It then amplifies the power of what's coming through the speakers, and it goes back out to the exact same spot, and you tie into the other end of your wires that you cut, and that's it. So I have a weak spot in my Jeep right now as far as the sound system, which it ain't really a big deal to me. It's the speaker wire. I didn't upgrade the speaker wire. Not something I really, again, thought that I need. At least as right now, I don't care. It sounds amazing for what it is, and it's going to, at least I believe it's going to do exactly what I want it to do. Perform well, listen to it clearly. I'm not trying to win competitions, none of that stuff. Again, all this system cost me about $700 to $800. I mean, I found parts on sale. It was a bargain. Alpine sells a plug-and-play system for this that has the T-harness, the bracket that goes under the seat, and of course you mount it under the seat. The Alpine amp comes with it on the side to the special bracket, and it runs for like $1,300 or $1,400, and I could not justify a $700 increase in cost just for a plug-and-play harness and a bracket. That seemed really taking advantage of people who don't know what they're doing, like me. What is up, JL Life Model here. We got something special planned today, something I've never done before, something I don't even know what I'm doing today. So if you have questions, I can't guarantee I'll be able to answer. But check this out. So today in Bromance, we're going to be doing a sound system upgrade. We're doing everything. Got some new KICKER speakers, 4 inches. I got an amp wiring kit, 8 gauge. Got some sound deadening mats, some polyfill, an 8-inch sub bass, an 8-inch subwoofer for under the seat, compact. Also got a compact amp. It's also weather resistant. And we got some new 3.5-inch speakers. These are Mopar. These are supposed to be plug and play. And I hear the sound system, or the sound quality from these guys are a heck of a lot better. But so anyways, this is all going in. I think we can all agree the sound system ain't that great. And it's even worse when you got the truck top on, because it's not soundproof, and I mean it's horrible. It's horrible. So I've researched audio systems like crazy lately, because I don't know nothing about it. Out of all the cars I've ever had, I've never upgraded the sound system. So rather than breaking things, I was talking to friends, and one of my friends was so willing to help me. This is my friend over here, Joe. You guys remember Joe? We bought our Yokohamas from him. I've bought my balancing beads from him. Missy bought her balancing beads from him. Now he's going to help me install this. So he says he knows what he's doing, right?
Something like that.
I hope so. But all right, guys, stay tuned. I hope this is going to sound great. All right, so before we get started, whenever you're screwing with the electrical stuff, y'all should know, at least I hope, is disconnect the negatives of the battery. So we're going to be doing it here. You know, the JLs have the 2 batteries. The other ones, we're going to be removing this whole clip. We're going to take off that one, and this will pop off. Shove a rag in between there just so it doesn't have a possibility of grounding out while you're working on it, so you don't break anything. But I'm going to do that real quick. All right, so as mentioned, once you get off the negative here and here, just shove a rag in there, and that will prevent it from grounding out. Next. All right, so the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be mounting the compact sub under the front passenger seat. So we're going to take that seat out. So to do that, you got your 4 torque bits. It's going to use a T50. They use red Loctite up front, so you might need a breaker bar, but there's 2 in the back, 2 in the front. After you do that, you can roll it up. I'm going to need to disconnect the wires, which are right up here. All right, so these wiring harnesses need to be removed to take the seat out. This one, once you pull out the red clip, you just squeeze it nice and tight, and it should be able to pull right out. This one, again, once you pull out the red clip, push down on the gray in between the 2 red. Just push down right there, compress, and push in and out, and it comes out. Hopefully, relatively easy. But let's get the seat out of the way.
What we'll do.
All right, so update, we decided not to go under the seat. We're actually going to mount it back here, up against my Tuffy box. If you get the fancy mounting bracket with the $1,400, $1,300 kit from Alpine, it's supposed to fit under there. This just seems like a lot cleaner, and I like it. All right, so planning phases. We're going to be running the wires up the passenger side. So we took off all the trim all the way to the back. Of course, our subwoofer in the back, and we gotta run the wires from there. So, all right. So these tabs, they came with the subwoofer. They're the mounting brackets. What we're planning on doing is drilling a large hole right there in the middle, so we can use a bolt rather than the self-tapping screws, just so I don't have sharp edges poking through the rear of my Tuffy security trunk. It's making me sad.
Everything's so smooth.
Hey, Mega Man.
Trying to be the boss.
Well, Daddy's over here working.
Yeah, and the boss is. Oh, I'm trying to be Rockman right now.
What are you trying to do?
Be Rockman?
Rocket Man.
Rock.
Oh, okay.
Man.
All right, so Joe's running out to go buy some nuts and bolts for the back. So what I'm going to be doing is just working on disassembling some things. I'm going to start with the sound bar. We're going to take off this, and we're going to take this guy out.
Now.
So after you drop those 4 Allens, hey, careful now. There's that.
Speaker.
That's a speaker. So you got your 3.5-inch speaker up here. You have a 4-inch speaker up here. So during my quest of trying to find out this, I went to a store, Audio Express. From what I understand, it's a very large chain. And the guy was swearing to me, no, it's a 6-inch. It's a 6-inch. I'm like, well, everything I've been reading, sir, it's a 4-inch. He's like, they don't make 4-inch speakers. It's a 6.5-inch. I'm like, well, if I buy your 6.5 inches, because I'm assuming you know what you're talking about. Not even the JL, not JK. He's like, yeah, it's the new one. I asked him, well, if you're wrong, do I get to return the speakers? He's like, well, we don't really have a return policy. We'll let you exchange it. And that's when I walked out, because everything I read online said 4-inch speaker.
When you kill Darnell.
Hey, I'm talking. Recording. So, yeah, they're 4-inch. Dropping those were easy. But the thing is, I want to get this sound bar out, so I'm going to do some research here. So currently I'm trying to figure out how to get into the sound bar, or drop the sound bar so we can put the sound deadening material in it. All right, now, again, orientation, back passenger. I'm popping this panel down. There's a screw. It popped down from there. Moving to the other side. I had to disassemble or take out the bolt holding down my... Hey, buddy. You mind keeping it down when I'm talking? Thanks. So, there's a little clip up there. I'm going to pop down. Then I should be able to access some bolts. We'll have to do the same to the other side. Of course, what I'm hoping is just dropping that bolt and that bolt will drop the entire sound bar. We'll find out. So we've already removed the 2 screws. Should be able to grab this guy, pop down, just like that. Give it a little bit more room up front. There is a clip holding it right here. I don't want to drop it all the way because I'm pretty sure I can reach it without. Let's take out those bolts. All right, so we got some more bolts under this panel, so we're going to work on taking that out. I'm going to remove the 3 screws up here. That should do it. So unfortunately, since I'm not in my garage, Joe's not here, I'm not going to go digging through his stuff. I'm not here. My extension broke for my drill, so hand powered. And of course we have a 3rd one right there. Okay, so after taking out those 3 screws up here, I started from one side, other side, then pulled straight down from the middle, popped out. Just be careful, it is obviously wired up. We're gonna disconnect that and finish taking out the sound bar. Now that we got that out of the way, we're gonna take out these other 2 bolts. these. Where am I putting them all? I don't even know. Okay, we got it. So this wiring harness to the sound bar so we can remove this. But after getting all the, don't pull on it now. That's right. So after we get this out, or all six, there's 6 of them. The bolts, you just pull it down. There's some clips, and it pops right out. But I'm gonna disassemble this to line it. So we're gonna pop out all these 2 speakers and get underneath. Just removing the screws. Should come right out. Disconnect that. Disconnect that. So with the sound deadening mat, we're just going to be cutting pieces of it and cramming it in there, trying to cover as much of the surface on the sides and the back and the top, this is the bottom, as we can. We're going to do that with both speaker holes on both sides, and we're going to line it with polyfill after that. As I read online, that this trick also helps the speakers sound a lot better because it's directing, you're not losing any of your projection through the other side of your soundbar. So all I'm doing is just using a small knife, cutting the pieces as I need it. You peel off the back, it's sticky, and you just line it until you get it all covered. And again, this is just going to really give it a robust sound. Now, there's no perfect science to this. You just cut it, layer it, and push it down as much as you can. They make a little roller tool to help. But you know, I'm just going to be pushing down with my finger until it's all full. It's fine if it overlaps. You just don't want gaps in between the material. All right, so here's comparing the kicker. There's it without the grill plate on the back. Again, here's the stock magnet. There's the kicker magnet. So I believe these speakers are rated for 60 watt. Yeah, it's 60 watt. Told y'all, I don't know what I'm doing. But so these should make a huge difference. So anyways, this one is not a direct plug and play. This will require a little bit of work, not much though. So the 3.5-inch speaker, this is a Mopar speaker. This is the one we're putting in today. Here's the one we're taking out. On the back, there's the magnet. On the back, there's the magnet. Huge difference. The nice thing about this one, it's a plug and play, so nothing special required. Just plug in and screw back on and good to go. I'll leave a description for everything I used today, for everything I used in today's video in the description if you guys are interested. So all I'm going to do is get the harness, plug it in there, and screw that back on. So make sure you don't lose this foam piece. It helps the rattle from that wire. You don't want to listen to rattling when everything's bumping. But the kickers aren't plug and play, but what we're going to do, we're just going to use a tapping harness. So that way we're not having to clip off the factory wiring harness, so if we ever want it, it's still there. We're just going to tap into the negative and positive, and of course just wire it into our T clamps, and we're going to bolt that in with some self-tapping screws to where it doesn't quite line up. But as soon as we're done with these 2 speakers, soundbar will be done. So Joe hooked up my wires down here on the speaker. You can see the white wire is going to be the positive, the black is going to be the negative. Get a little bit closer, you can kind of see it. You see the negative and the positive right there on the side. But we're going to plug that in, tap into our, we're going to tap into our T-clamps and screw it in. And of course on the factory side of the soundbar, white's positive, black is negative. We're just going to use our quick connectors to go into the right ones. Ta-da! Just like that. So we got this in. I just used some small screws and screwed through the plastic. Careful not to over tighten because you'll just make it loose if you over tighten and you strip out the plastic. But there it is, all of its glory. Get the other side done. All right, so we got the speakers in all filled with polyfill. We're going to reinstall it back to where it needs to go. We can move to the other side. I don't feel like I need to narrate this part because I showed you how to take it undone or take it down. You guys should be able to reverse engineer it. Got the sound bar loosely in. Next, we're going to mark where we're going to put the sub, which again is going right in the back of the rear seats, bolting into my Tuffy. So, center punch would be a good one. Just center punching all your holes or marking it with a pencil, which is what I'm going to do now. There we go. We're drilled into the Tuffy with the wiring harness. I'm going to plug in, run all those to the front. Hi, Joe. Hello. Yeah, so currently we're running all of our wires where they need to go. Again, we're just following the dash or the passenger side and running where they need to be. So behind the head unit, that's where I'm at now, splicing into the speaker wires. So there is wiring diagrams on the JL forms. I'll leave a link to that because it's different for the base and the premium packages, but we're just going to plug our speakers right into that from the sub. All right, so here we go. We got the subwoofer in, the remote lead wire, the remote turn on actually does not require to be wired for the setup that we're doing. I will eventually be putting wire loom around this just to clean it up. Of course, we ran our wires, we ran the ground for the sub down to a bolt that was down here. And of course, we have all of our wiring along the kick panels. And we ran the power line under there. We actually drilled a second hole, a small one, so I don't have to cut into my grommet for the plug. There we go. You can see this kit came with some rubber grommets for the hole that we drilled. Ran the power line, and it's going up to the battery up this way. So, and of course I'll show you guys the complete setup once it's all done and all nice. I got a Jeep show coming up soon. Next up I'm going to be working on is removing the speaker from the knee and of course the tweeter. This panel just peels right off. See right here. You guys see the clips. It is, and I'm going to unscrew these. That one's going to be a little bit more difficult to get to, as you know, want to make it simple. But anyway, so my idea is to remove these, pull this down, and hopefully I can drop the speaker box from underneath. We're going to be taking out are these three. This in the glove box. Okay, so got all those screws removed. This is loose now. However, the box, this guy, is still bolted in there, so we have some screws we're going to be taking out. There's that one. On the outside, there's one in this hole. It looks like it's holding it in. Trying to put this on, and there's a third one up top. So hopefully, once we get those removed, and of course the wiring to it's right there, pull that out, and I'm hoping this will just drop on out. Joe's on the other side working on driver speaker. If he comes across
Lithium powered cordless today.
getting it done. Hell yeah. So in here, after I took those three out, the box is loose. I'm going to unplug the speaker, which that was pretty simple, and you just squeeze the back clip right there and pulls right out. So the hope at this point is I can pull sorry guys, is that I will be able to just pull this and drop it out. Boom. And so we're going to take the speaker out. We're going to put the sound deadening mat all inside, polyfill inside, and the new kicker, 4-inch kickers. Of course, this isn't too difficult. You just take out those 3 screws and the speaker will come right out. I need a haircut again, guys. So, pro tip, anything that houses a speaker, sound bar, speaker boxes, all that stuff, you want to make sure that you return all the screws. If you lose a screw by chance, which I've done before, move a screw around, make sure that your sound box is secure, because if you don't and you have one loose, it's possible that you're going to start developing a rattle, and nobody wants to listen to a rattle. But this is out. Unplug, squeeze, pop it one-handed. These are going to be the same as the ones in the sound bar. So inside this box, I'm just going to go get all the sound deadening around it and polyfill it. And again, there's nothing special about it, just poly or sound deadening on as much of the space as you can. Also in there, this tube, it loops around and it comes out here. Obviously don't put the sound deadening on top of that tube, but that's just to kind of help reverberate all the stuff that goes in here. And again, the sound deadening mat is to help redirect the sound waves. Instead of losing it to the front of the Jeep, it's getting kicked back out. Use the speaker box for the front passenger. Again, we're going to be lining all the inside with the sound deadening mat and stuffing it with polyfill. With the speakers we got, I'm actually going to need to tap into the positive and negative and run it into the new speaker, which isn't hard. It's pretty simple to do. And I will also need to drill new holes. All the speakers in. There's not really a science to it, just cut it into pieces and patch it together. You got a very small hole to fit your big hand in, and of course it's molded, so you can't just pop it out from the other side. There it is. Don't need to be pretty, just cover as much of it as you can. The more of the square footage, the bare surface you're able to cover in there, the better sounding it's going to be. But put some polyfill in there now. Polyfill, again, you're not trying to cram the speaker space as much as possible, but just helping to slow down the air. With these speakers, I knew they didn't drill in as was, and that there would be additional drilling that needed to be required. However, it doesn't quite fit flush with the housing. Which of course is not what I'm wanting. So we're just gonna Dremel it out, get it to sit snug. Dremel time. So taking out the driver speaker takes a little bit more work. You're gonna have to disassemble the dash, basically because you're gonna need to take off this piece, because we need to get to this screw. Right, where am I? Right there. Right there. In order to drop that speaker. If you're wondering how to take off all of that dash, you guys can go back and watch my other video installing the US Speedo gauge plates. Alright, so we were able to get the speaker out on driver's side. Yes, so you know there's some work involved. Look at this. Oodles and oodles of screws. Here's where the speaker box went. Ooh, and there it all is. Oh my gosh. Definitely a lot easier to work on this while it's in. I'm not going to dispute that. But since I have to do some modifying to get my speaker to fit, apparently, we both agreed it's easier to work on that out of the Jeep. But, oh my gosh, you got to take all of these parts off. Oh my god. Alright, so we got our two boxes. One sound blind, or dead matted, whatever you want to call it, one not. So we're going to listen to the robust sound difference here. So, that ain't going to work. There you go. I like that. We're going to go for the side. Here is this one. hear the difference of how much more solid this sounds? Again, even if you're not wanting to replace your speakers, you don't have to. Just buying the sound deadening mat and lining your speaker bar and your speaker boxes, lining your sound bar and your speaker boxes is going to make a huge difference just in the quality of the music that is produced by your stock speakers. So this mod by itself is relatively cheap. I bought that box of kill mat for $60 on Amazon. Like I said, I will make sure I leave a description in the link below. So even if you're not wanting to upgrade the sub, the amp, and the speakers, this right here will make a huge difference. Damn! Again, all that is just, the lighting is terrible. All of it's lost sound. So that's why this is such a beneficial upgrade, because it means just the thin plastic, the sound waves just travel through it and it's getting dissipated to where I can't hear it. And if I'm not hearing it, it's wasted tunes in my opinion. So this one, it's all done. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just do the best you can. Obviously, the more you can cover, the better the sound's going to be. Just make sure that every bit of sound deadening mat that you have in there is pushed down firmly. Get it in there. Nice deep black. Yeah, so hollowed out both of the rings. Speakers fit snug. Now I'm using T-taps onto the wires. Of course, green's going to be your positive, black's going to be your negative on both of them. The kickers came with the plugs to go to the speaker. It's open where I need to wire it to, so you get to choose your own wiring, of course. But I'm just going to be crimping these bad boys on and plugging it in. So, got it crimped on. Take your speaker. Connections are big and small, big and small. Your black wire, which is the small plug on the speaker, is your negative. Prime in my polyfill. Wire your wires into the polyfill. As mentioned, speaker in and put your screw back on. So these are awesome heavy crimpers. I need a pair. The ones I typically use are crimpers like these. This gets it done. Alright guys, so we got the speaker in. Minor modification. Did have anywhere you don't see a gold screw is a new hole, but we're going to get these wired back in, switch out the tweeters, wire in the amp, and we should be done. So as you're putting them in, remember to plug them back in, otherwise you're going to have some work to do to plug them back in. But we're going to get this side button back up, button up the other side. Alright, so the next thing we're going to be swapping out are going to be the dash tweeters. So these grills are really easy to pop off. Just get a trim removal tool and just start popping off all the corners. It comes right off. We're going to take the screws out. We will put some sound deadening mat in it, but we're not taking anything out to get this done. And the speakers I got, again, are for a direct replacement, plug and play, so easy peasy. To get those two top screws out, pop this right out. Squeeze. Sorry guys, I just can't do this one-handed. It is same as the one in the soundbar. Sorry, we're on close distance. Same one as the soundbar. I guess there's not even really anywhere to sound deaden. I'll just plug in the new ones in. All right, so there's my Dart speaker. Plug that in, go get the other sides done. I'll check back in with you when I'm doing the stuff I don't know. Joe's gonna be helping. Cause yeah, I'll jack it up. And so just for orientation purposes, make sure this tab is facing closer to the cabin, not behind it. All right, so here's the head unit. We wired the subwoofer directly into our wires. The subwoofers are easy to do, as I've discovered. You just do your ground, your power, and you tap directly into your speaker wire. So what we need to do for the amp is we need to loop the speakers through the amp back out into here, whatever wires that we cut. We're just trying to figure out the simplest way of doing that without using a bunch of the same colored wires. Okay, so here's the wiring harness for the amp. This side goes into the amp. We got 16 wires going out, or I guess it's more technically 8 going in, 8 going out. Like I said, this is just looping in. So as you can see, we've already taken all of these wires, show them nice and clearly so you can see which ones I connected to. But anyways, on the other side, right here, we had RCA connectors right there. We chopped those off, exposed the wires, and we're just going to butt connect them where they need to go. And hopefully we're almost done. We got our 2 large cords, of course our wires to the sub. And these large cords had 7 in them, so 7 in, 7 out. And we needed to do 1 extra to make it 8. And there it is, intercepting the signal. And it's going to loop it down through there. It's going to go right in front of where the seat goes. And plug into the amp, which is going to be under the seat. Just got to connect the power and the negative and button everything back up, and it's done. Can't wait. All that. Oh, look, no seat. Doing some research online, I have discovered that people have encountered problems when you switch out the factory speakers for aftermarket, that if the proper distribution is not there, I don't know. It's all like Chinese to me, man. I don't know what I'm talking about. But apparently I need resistors, 5 amp. Going to work on getting those tonight with Joe and trying to get installed. I need to do it soon because I don't like riding with no music, man. It's lame. Play music. Hey guys, so we're day 3 of this install. Slowly we're making progress. Last time I left you guys, we were having the issues with the speakers not turning up music. Everything was wired in, and of course wasn't getting any sound. Doing some research, or Joe was very helpful during this entire thing, but Joe doing some research found out that the JL, once the computer is sitting there telling itself the factory speakers aren't in there, we have a problem, and it wasn't cutting music out to the speakers. So was told that using the resistors would eliminate that, would trick the computer into thinking that the stock speakers were in there, and you'd be good to go again. So we did that last night, and the good news is the subwoofer kicked back on, but the speakers still weren't working. So we did some more troubleshooting, and we found out that the amp, though the instructions say you don't need to use the remote, what is it called? the remote wire. Anyways, the wire that provides power to it when the ignition is on, so it's not constantly going and draining your battery. So we were able to just directly line that up where we were yesterday. It worked, so I'm going to wire this in despite the instructions saying it's not needed. I'll let you guys know where I run this to, just so you have an idea, but it's kind of where we're at right now. And to show you guys the resistors I used, the 5-watt 47 RJ. You very well may need this. When I was doing the research, I guess some people do, some people don't. And so when running this remote wire lead, again, you're just looking for power that only can be turned on, or that's only on when the Jeep is on. And again, that's just to make sure your battery doesn't die. It's easier just going through the fuse box for this application. And of course, it's going to be a lot cleaner. We're going to go get under the hood where the fuse box is, and I'll show you how to tell if it's good to go or not. So underneath the fuse box lid, you also have the label of all the different fuses and a diagram of where each one is located. So F52 is right there. It's going to be between these two big fuses, which, so these guys, F52 is going to be the yellow one. My nicer one is broken, so we're going to use this cheaper one. So what this is a power probe. You connect the wire end to any ground, any bare metal source, and then you're going to take your probe and you're going to start touching around on things. And you'll see that light turn on. So once you connect the circuit, of course, once you find power, the light turns on. So again, the Jeep is currently off. You want to touch your fuses. So, yeah. Oh. So, like this one right here. So, I'm touching the lead. The light turns on. So, this one is constantly going. That would be a bad fuse to tap into. Cigarette lighter. So, looking at it while I'm touching the metal leads on the tip, getting nothing. So to verify, to make sure things are working correctly, I'm going to go inside, start the Jeep, and I'm going to check it again. Started the engine. Pretty sure we found our fuse. So this is the fuse we're going to be using. This is what's called a piggyback fuse. You plug it into your normal fuse box receiver. You put your original fuse there, and this just piggybacks on top of that. So what's important about these is you want to make sure, because there's obviously a receiving, sending, when the power goes in, and of course the fuse is in the middle. If it overloads the fuse, it burns the fuse out. What's important with these as compared to regular fuses, you want to make sure that the in is going to bridge across where this line is, because say you put the in backwards, it's going to go through here. Let's say it blows your fuse. Okay, yeah, it blows your fuse, but it's going to continue down the line because there's no break in the circuit, which is what the fuse does. There's no break in the circuit, and it's going to fry whatever it leads to, which would be my amp, which we don't want that. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So I have the vehicle, the Jeep, in the on position for the key, and I'm going to take my prober. So looking at it, we have our receiving on that side. We go to the second side, we're not getting the light, so got to make sure that the wire is on this side, but we're going to pull that, plug it in, and piggyback off of it. Well, son of a gun, I have a fried fuse. Good thing there's extras, these guys. So I'm going to pull that 20 out. And another important thing, I don't know if my 5 is going to be enough for this application. If not, I'll just switch it up to something bigger. But another important thing is make sure your bigger size fuse is always on bottom, not on top. There it is. We sat in the new one. There's plenty of clearance for everything to close and move. I'm gonna run the wire out this side. I'm gonna run my remote lead to that now to make sure the speakers work. So guys, it was the wire lead, the remote turn on lead with the resistors on why the speakers were not working. When I kicked in the resistors, the sub started kicking back on after running the remote turn on lead. Again, the instruction said it wasn't needed, but whatever. Got that done. It's all nice and buttoned up. So guys, I am so happy with this system. I am so happy the way it turned out, minus my electrical tape. It's because I didn't have a lot of space to get the roll of tape in there, so I just used the glue just to help waterproof the seals. Quit making fun of me, man. It's my first time. If you have questions, by all means, ask. I will do my best to be able to answer them for you, but I make no promises because this was very confusing to me. And I don't understand all the science behind sound systems, but I understand majority of, I understand what I did to my Jeep. Thank you so much, Joe from Rio Rancho Tires. I could not have done this as quickly as I did without your expertise. All right, it's all nice and done. So let me just show you what it looks like. Everything buttoned back up. To be honest, you can't even really tell. Nice. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Again, if you have questions, I will do my best to answer them, but recognize, and I'm admitting, I am not an expert in this stuff, but you heard the system. It's absolutely bumping, and now I have control of the Jeep again. So babe, how was your day?
It's okay. Work crazy, like always. Been super busy.
What? Work's been good?
No, it's been crazy. Busy.
I'm sorry, what?
There's a lot of stuff going on at work. It's been crazy busy.
You want to get dessert? I'm sorry, I can't hear a darn thing. These kids are so loud. Why must you guys always stay in the Jeep? I have an idea.
I'm a true champion.
Perfect tool. Oh yeah.